It is current. Look, it's just the third part of Day 9 Daily number 361. You don't give a shit what day it is, do you? Because if you're watching live, you are either in Europe, snuggled up after dinner with some hot cocoa. You are an unemployed American, kicking it back, probably going to go to bed soon and sleep till 9 p.m. Perhaps you're a student watching in class right now. Or you are the bulk of my audience, which is someone who's watching on the archive at work. Good to have you here. I appreciate you. We're going to come back to the IPL 3 game between Millennium.stephano and rgn.kiwikaki. Kiwikaki seems pretty screwed, dude. Pretty screwed, dude. But he's going to be making himself a lot of archons, and let's see how he ends up pulling himself together out of this sort of grody situation. We do see some pullback, but again, notice how there's some big red targets all up on this. Kiwikaki has the largest number of archons that has ever been seen. And this is a pretty hard army to deal with. Only archons and a couple of stalkers. That's a good one. That's a good one. But notice that when Kiwikaki was really up against the wall, he still built this Mothership. He did not do something like, oh my gosh, no, I'm only getting this when I'm maxed. No, remember, what was the reason that we got this Mothership? The reason that we got it is it allows us to do recalls and hit these disparate bases that have this nice cliff and still be able to pull out in time. Ha! Thank you so much, Kiwikaki, for this example. Again, I want to highlight the right Protoss, Kiwikaki, and the wrong Protoss. What does Mr. Wrong do? Mr. Wrong just says, Motherships are cool, I'll get it when I'm close to max, because one Mothership is probably going to be better than 2 Stalkers. Ha ha ha, so that makes sense. Kiwikaki says, I'm getting the Mothership to be able to do this kind of cool harassment, this cool base management. And why is it so important to understand the difference between these two? Because your bad Protoss would not have built this Mothership again. He would not have built it. But Kiwikaki did. He really did build it, dude. So let's go ahead and speed things up so that we can get all the way through this replay. Leaving some archons, some chons to urching. Amazingly enough, I don't think a single observer has been built by Kiwikaki past that first one that he had wandering down there to use Blink with later on in the game. Some very aggressive positioning from this Mothership. Again, Archon Vortex, very, very potent mix. But, you know, Stephano actually kind of feels obligated to stay pulled back. This army is really scary in a direct engagement for Zerg. But more importantly, these are the only mining bases for Stephano. And Stephano's kind of like, yeah, really got to do that. So here comes the Mothership, pulling back, pulling away from the forces. Oh no, be careful the engagement, Kiwikaki. We see the engagement and it's just going like horrifically, right? I really do not think that he should have been doing that. Gotta be really, really careful with that. I would have loved to see something like a blink up here. Starting to do a little damage here, and then just a standard run down, blink away. That seems great. 2 Colossi are being built. This is just to help the general range issue that you end up having, where you need something that can really rip through those broodlings super easily and can pick off these infestors from afar, because the Neural Parasite only has range 7 now. Pretty standardo. So what the heck to do now? Kiwikaki building the big power units. This is a time when I don't really like the idea of building a Dark Templar, because we're actually trying to just conserve our money as much as possible. Stephano's being a freaking genius with these drops. What a genius! This is so easy to do. It literally costs you no food. You just build ventral sacks. Yeah. Look at this. Zergling's basically free at this time. Kiwikaki was amazingly far away from his super important, essential to protect bases. And yet again has absolutely no observer. Oh, it's an observer! A miracle has occurred. I'm actually going to speed it up because not that much interesting stuff is happening. Both players just playing really cautiously. The only thing that there really is to talk about is the fact that Void Rays and Colossi are being built rather than Stalkers, rather than something that is a little bit more, I need a big army now. This is Rain Kiwikaki saying, I'm going for an eventually powerful army later. And I'm torn. I guess this is fine to do. Especially given the count of archons that we have. I mean, if we have this many colossi, it'll definitely make our archons way stronger because it's harder to neural parasite the archons. But I guess... This is a way... This is essentially saying I did so much damage to these bases earlier on that you now are going to basically be broke and you only really have one strong army left. And it looks like Stephano's actually just going hog wild with spine crawlers, making sure he can stay alive. He's probably going to be using these in the push. Nothing too noteworthy going on, except, oh my god, he's actually going for it. Still would not dislike the idea of just blinking up here, killing this off, and recalling back out. Where is the mothership? Safe somewhere? Where'd our mothership go? Have I just whiffed the is the mothership dead? Where's the mothership? You guys. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh my god. How did I mess that up? This is like the key moment of the whole damn game. God, how embarrassing. Ugh. I even have it in my notes. Make sure to look at bottom left at 45-minute mark. It's like 45 minutes and 32 seconds. Ripsy derpsy daisies. Alright, so cool. What did we talk about so much? This idea of base management and expansion management. So this is going to be a very brilliant move by Kiwikaki. I almost wish that he did it the reverse order, but we'll just talk about it when we see it. Here it comes, the big mega engagement. And there it is, going down into the main. Going to be eliminating everything. Essential to see that this mothership has 2 full vortexes, two full recalls that you can do. What I really would have liked, though, is if Kiwikaki moved down this way, started to move up into this main, caused everything to pull back, and then just recalled up here. The only reason I think that this is actually correct, though, I think the only... Yeah, the only reason I really think that this is okay still is that this mothership can recall back to defend our only mining base. If we did the move up here, where we recalled here to try to kill this off, and then we pulled back to recall home defensively, we'd have all our units in the main, and then these expos would be totally vulnerable. But still, I don't know how much I like the idea of just trying to go for the main. Recall, Kiwikaki. Recall. Are you waiting for this Void Ray to arrive so we can recall? Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what's up. So that play was sick. That was a sick play. Yeah. Now he's building more stalkers. Yeah. And notice how out of position the army is. This is a little bit more of a vulnerable location again. But, you know, still, even if we have our whole army here to be able to defend this counterplay, it's not like we can really do that much about it, because when your opponent has this many Broodlords, you're in kind of icky shape. He's going to go for the engagement anyways, because with Colossi and Archons, you can pick off Broodlings really well. The problem is that Broodlords just do a shit ton of damage anyways. So even though you're killing off all the Broodlings, you're still in rough condition. And see, you know, again, if this engagement, I still feel like you should have done it the reverse way and killed off this. I think that would have been way more kick-ass. Yeah, I just agree with myself there. Now, all those harassment plays are great and fine and dandy. And now both players are just out of money. Don't rebuild the Nexus here. Obviously is not going to be of too much assistance. Stephano now is the one with the big advantage because he has so much money. Crisis, crisis, crisis. Speeding things along. And now all of a sudden we get to a part in the gameplay that's just like, blah. What the hell do I do? Still think that there should have been warp prisms way earlier on. Still think that it probably should have applied a little bit more pressure there. That worked out so brilliantly for Kiwikaki multiple times at the start of the game. I think that this sort of drop from Stephano is actually not good at this point. Because what is he really trying to prevent his opponent from doing? What can he kill off a pylon or two? Then what? Well, Protoss still is not maxed. It still has a ridiculous amount of stuff. But let me just fast forward to the biggest treat of the day. The delightful move that wins Kiwikaki the game. Ba-dum-ba-dum. You cannot beat this army in toe-to-toe combat. You will never beat this army in toe-to-toe combat. Bum-ba-dum-bum-bum. You'll never beat it. Running around, killing off 3 spine crawlers, taking damage. Alright, here we go, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? Alright, everyone put your handles on your toilets. Put your hands on your toilet handles. Get ready. Oh, what's gonna happen? He's trying to do some Broodlord micro, and the Broodlings stay in the air for a really long time before landing. Here we go. Okay, alright, it's coming up in a moment. Here we go. And hear it. Oh, getting it with a vortex. Now, normally I'm a strategist, right? Normally I do the analysis. That way you can be a better gamer, but this is just kick ass. Oh my god, look at the Archons running in there. Uh-oh, see ya later, Infestator. See you later, Infestator. And here come, uh-oh, here pop out all the Broodlords. Oh, taking some damage, taking some hits. Taking some hits. Unreal. That is so good. Now, though that was the awesomest shit that you will ever see, he made it out of there with 3 Stalkers, and that is it for anti-air, other than the Mothership. 6 Colossi, 3 Stalkers. That is so close. That is the closest ending I think I have seen maybe ever. And only had 500 gas there. I'm wondering if there's any way he could have won this. Are there any gas geysers he could have possibly taken? Nah, yeah, he was probably dead as shit. But still, 3 Stalkers. And of course, Stephano gives the traditional grats as he departs. That is the sickest thing I've ever seen. The Mothership for the win. That's something I just want to throw out there. The Mothership, very, very good at those direct engagements if you can kind of force them to occur. So what I want to do now is I want to go to the ever so infamous Markio question grabber. Markio Choa, clear. Let's go ahead and take some questions before we bounce out. Again, for Fun Day Tuesday next week, you must do the following. Play Protoss, Cannon Rush, then expand to another main, or just to not your natural if it's a 2-player map, and then you can do whatever you want. Cannon Rush, expand another main, do whatever the hell you want. Good. Hoping for some insanity. So, demo grades. Dear Day 9, why didn't Stephano make stronger harass to destroy Kiwikaki's base? It seemed that the largest force he used was maybe 8 roaches. Couldn't he have been more aggressive against those expansions to help shut them down? Perhaps. I focused almost all on Kiwikaki this game and just occasionally dropped the holy shit Stephano is good bomb a couple times. I think the big thing is that Stephano was largely trying to force a direct engagement. So he kind of wants to keep as big of an army together as he can, because that forces Protoss to sort of be pulling back on the fringe. And that act makes the 8 roach drop way stronger. If for some reason Stephano decided to drop, I don't know, let's just say 20 roaches on that left base, then suddenly Stephano's big main army is not strong enough to take out Kiwikaki. And then it has to be pulled back. And then all of a sudden, your Protoss player has freedom to do a lot more damage to you. So I don't really mind that so much by Stephano, that he's only using maybe 8 roaches during those moments. When he was going for the huge Corruptor Hydra Roach thing, that's where I think that maybe some more aggression stuff should have come down. But really, I think that the big key was, if we come back to around this point in the game, I think, no, maybe it was, yeah, right around here. This is the first time Stephano had actually found out about this base. When all the cannons were done, when things were getting warped in, you kind of just have to be aggressive about scouting expansions. Because players will go and take them. Like, always. They will frickin' take those bases. Even if it doesn't seem reasonable. I mean, there's a lot of Protoss players on Tal'Darim Altar will go against a Zerg, Forge, Cannon, Nexus, Nexus at another main. And then they play the game out normally. And you just think, oh, this Protoss is pretty bad. Scout those bases early. Scout those bases really, really early. So let's see here. Natural Hack says, Dear Day 9, isn't Kiwikaki making the assumption that the Zerg isn't going for, let's say, 2 base Roaches, which would do very well against the 2-gate Zealots? Well, again, let's come back and look at the situation early on. As we zoom back in time, did Kiwikaki know what was up? Let's actually come to the Kiwikaki cam. Alright, and what does he see? He sees, well, he does see a gas. And does he actually have any indication that there's something coming up here? Okay, well, Kiwikaki really regularly hides this sort of thing. And what he's going to do is wait until close to the 5-minute mark. And that's generally when he'd end up seeing if the opponent is expanding. He's going to check around there. We see the 2 gateways coming out, and oh, don't see anything yet. Still running around in circles. Hey, cool, we see it. Now, what if he didn't see anything up to this point in time? What if he didn't? Well, if my opponent is going 2 base Roaches, well, keep in mind, we're already getting some cannons up. We're going to have a slightly delayed cybernetics core, but we can just do something like build some more cannons and then just take our 3rd base. And we're going to be in really, really, really good shape. It's important not to think of... Let me zoom up here. It's important not to think of, like, this moment. This moment is where a lot of people focus the analysis on. They focus the analysis on, well, the Zealots showed up, and at the moment of arrival, there were no Roaches. Yay! Not exactly how we want to think. We want to think about the leading up to it, and how he would transition to that point. Because maybe if Kiwikaki sensed some Roaches, he would stop building Zealots at 6, still get a fast 3rd, and build a bunch of cannons, and go down some entirely different path that would be in good shape. So, yeah, I do think the Zealot attack would fall very easily to Roaches, but he just might not do that to Roaches. Excellent. Darth Cuddle says, Dear Day 9, would you recommend always getting a Mothership in extreme late game scenarios? I think it can help, but it kind of still depends on your position. Using recalls, or actually, you should ask yourself, what does a Mothership do? It gives me Cloak, it gives me Recall, and it gives me Vortex. Is that helpful to me? Recall is helpful because we have Blink Stalkers that we can blink up, do damage, recall back. Colossi can walk up, recall back. Void Rays can fly over, recall back. Okay, good. So that helps with my army. Can we use Vortex then? Well, Vortex doesn't seem as useful when we're going for Stalker Colossus, but when we have those Archons up, that seems a lot better with the Vortex. Cool. The Cloaking was never really going to be very useful. The fact that it does damage and flies, I mean, probably you could get it, but you need to make sure you know exactly why you're getting it. I've seen a lot of people get Motherships and only use them for Vortex because they have an Archon army. It's about the purpose that it solves. It's not about just the idea of having a unit. What purpose does it solve? And the last question. Dumoose says, Dear Day 9, why do you think Kiwikaki strayed away from using Storms in this match? You know, I think he probably should have begun teching in that direction. Storms were really good. I want to say that the reasoning is that he was so committed to this idea of just getting a lot of harassment with the Colossi and the Stalker recall action. Storms would have eaten into his ability to do that, would have made his direct confrontation army better, but he was not going for direct army confrontation. I think that the real solution is that Kiwikaki needed to... God, my answer is so boring. Oh, excuse me. I think the real answer is that Kiwikaki kind of needed to do more harassment if he really was going to commit to doing this mothership thing. Really needed to level it up. That's going to wrap up the daily, guys. Submit your Fun Day Monday replays to Monday at day9.tv. Watch yesterday's Newbie Tuesday, which is now up on Dat Archives, where it's exercises and training drills and how you can help train yourself with your mental checklist. And I'll see you on Friday at MLG Orlando. Orlando. See you later, alligators. See you later.